Churches and zoning. The referral here was a request from Reuben and Delia Jackson. They wanted a conditional use permit for a church and activities facilities at 2033 Lathrop Avenue. Now, I emphasize the word church because church freedom of religion is very fundamental to the conception and the philosophy of this country. I mean, it's the first phrase of the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. We're not talking about even something like gun control, which is the second, or we're not talking about due process of law, which is down in the Fourth and Fifth Amendment. This was what separated us from England, because they all had monarchies and church religions, and it was very heavily controlled, and they felt it was a big thing. And here we are in Racine restricting the activities of churches, and I don't see the purpose of it or the need for it. And I understand that the churches might not fit into the zoning. I have two questions for you, Alderman. The first one is this legitimate? And the other one is, if we decide we want to allow more freedom of religion, is it possible to exempt churches and their activities from the zoning laws?
Well, let me address, try to address those issues.
Okay.
First, you are absolutely correct. There is an absolute freedom of religion stated in the First Amendment to the Bill of Rights, and I don't believe that anyone, whether they're on the Plan Commission, whether they're on the council, or whether they're in any aspect of our city government, would ever call that freedom into question. This is not an issue, in fact, about churches, nor does the ordinance address churches specifically. This ordinance is about land use, and that's what zoning is all about. I've heard the argument that, well, you know what, if I buy a piece of property, I ought to be able to do anything I want with it because I'm the property owner, and if you don't like that city, you should just buy the property back. Well, the fact is that simply doesn't make sense and has historically never been done. Zoning started in the 1700s, and its purpose is to try to put like businesses and property uses, together. So, for example, I live in a residential district, R1 on College Avenue. Okay, I would really not like to have somebody buy the property next door to me and put up a slaughterhouse, or take the property on the other side of me and put in a McDonald's. That's why we have zoning, so that we don't have commercial businesses sitting in those residential businesses, residential areas rather. So the purpose of zoning, again, is to do city planning, is to put like things together, because there is a synergy to putting like things together. So an example would be a mall, such as Regency Mall. In Regency Mall, we put a lot of smaller businesses together. Now, you may not go down there to just shop at Radio Shack, okay? But because you were down there to shop at Penny's, you said, well, you know, and there's that other thing I'd like to get taken care of. I'll go over to Radio Shack. Well, they're all close. So the benefit is you can go to one place and hit all those things. If we have an area, let's say on Washington, Highway 20, where we have a number of small businesses together, for example, in West Racine, then you may not go down there for just the one business, but you're attracted. It's a magnet to go down there because, hey, you know what, if I don't find it at business 1, I might find it at business 2 or 3, and so I'll go down there because there is an aggregation of similar businesses together. Okay, so one of the reasons why you, as a small business owner, might choose to locate at a particular place, okay, is because it's zoned, let's say, B1 through B5, and so you have a reasonable assurance that other similar kinds of retail businesses will be put next to you, okay? And as a result, your location is enhanced because people who are coming for your neighbor's business may very well stop in at yours. They're coming to that location for retail purchase, okay? And by aggregating other retailers together, we create a magnet to bring them together. Now, what our ordinance talks about is putting non-commercial uses in a retail business zone, okay? And it's not addressing churches specifically, it's addressing any non-commercial use. So it could be a social hall, it could be a club meeting area, it could be any one of a number of different kinds of uses, okay? But it is specific to non-commercial uses. So if I have a business on Washington, okay, and part of the reason I located there was because there were other businesses, other retail businesses there, I don't really want non-commercial uses coming in that are going to detract from my ability to attract business. If I knew that a non-commercial business was going to be moving in next door, I might very well have considered a different location. So part of the benefit of the bargain for me in either buying a building or leasing or renting space is the comfort I have in knowing what's going to be around me. So in this particular case, we have a little shopping center at 21st and Lathrop, and we have a number of businesses there. There's a laundromat there, there's a video rental, there's a computer repair. And when those people come into that area, they come in with an expectation that the vacant shops will in fact be retail shops. And the more retail shops that are there, the more likely it is that they'll attract more business to their business. So we need to understand that part of the reason why they moved to that location was because they had a reasonable expectation based on the city's zoning that like businesses would be there. So now, if a non-commercial business comes in, okay, it does one positive thing. Okay, it takes a vacant building and puts somebody in it. A vacant slot in a building. Okay, that's a good thing. Okay, I don't disagree with that at all. But the problem is when that use is a non-commercial use. Okay, it may very well be attracting or not attracting people that a similar B1 through B5 permitted use would have done. So that's why this came forward. This was proposed and enacted about 9 months ago. It was it received all the public notice. It had a public hearing. It was at the Plan Commission. It was at the council, and no one had any concerns about it at that time.
Now that's for the zoning.
For the
Zoning or
law,
for the church?
For the zoning law
zoning change,
that was made. Now there's an example, and it's being applied, and some concern is being raised, and there's a legitimate argument that says, gee, should we in fact tell those other tenants, you're not going to get the benefit of having other retail stores there, but instead you're going to get the benefit of having it not be vacant.
I understand.
Okay?
And
that's a policy question. I'm more than happy to see that get debated at the Plan Commission and see that debated on the council floor and get input from the community. We thought we did that 9 months ago when we set up the public hearing, but this particular situation has obviously attracted more attention to the issue, and I would certainly have no opposition to seeing it come back to the Plan Commission to be reconsidered as an ordinance.
Alderman, I understand what you're saying about non-commercial use, and although I'm not a zoning proponent, as you know, I still understand that argument, non-commercial use. I just look at churches as a separate, more important issue than non-commercial use. Yes, they are a non-commercial use type of entity, but they are a church. They are a specific kind of non-commercial use entity, and I just feel like because of the nature of this country and because of the importance of that particular aspect of our country, that we should make an exemption for churches in non-commercial use instances. For instance, they might want to move into a industrial area, or they might want to move what's considered a residential area where churches are typically located, and they say, all right, but we are a church, so we are exempted from these particular, just like they're exempted from taxes. Everybody pays property taxes except churches, and I just feel like this is an important part of our life here in this country, and that if a church wants to move in there, Not all non-commercial use entities, but if a church wants to move in there, maybe it would just be a benefit. Maybe there'd be more people coming there because of the church activities, and that would still supplement it. But that's not the argument. The argument is freedom of religion and free exercise thereof. And do you see that particular aspect of the argument?
I do not believe that this ordinance is in any way a restriction on freedom of religion. And in fact, we've had a recent case here in Wisconsin that has upheld almost the exact wording of our statute. So
Okay.
I have no doubt in my mind that a city has the power and the responsibility to consider commercial and non-commercial uses. This is not about churches. This is about commercial and non-commercial uses. However, the second part of your question was, could we in fact exempt churches from this
From
this
zoning
ordinance?
ordinances, period.
Well-
Where they could go into residential, commercial, industrial, wherever they wanted to go, we're gonna let churches do that, if they can show they're a church.
Do cities have the power to do that? Yes.
Okay.
Is it a good idea? I think that's something open for debate.
Good, good, all right, we'll leave it at that, and the same message you gave in another segment was that if you're interested in that, make your thoughts known.
Yes, I think the
Right.
best thing to do is to contact your alderman, tell your alderman what your concerns are, and give them some direction. And we are your representatives. And the more we know about how you feel, the more informed we can make our votes.
Absolutely. Wise words. All right, we're going to take a break and come back with one more segment called, under recycling. I have a question